Does it look a little dark? Or can you see my face fine? I think your face better. So I lost my grandmother. It was definitely kind of like a granddaughter grandmother relationship. As I've gotten older, we've gotten closer, I would say. So my grandpa's name was Russ. He was okay. We were not really close.
And I've lost 3 of my grandparents, as well as a couple of close family friends.
And then my grandmother's name was Sandy, and she passed away in 2018. It was a very weird, like, not super close grandmother relationship. It was more like I'd only see her really for the holidays.
My aunt, I actually lost a couple months after that. I grew up knowing her until I was 11 years old, is when we stopped talking to that side of the family pretty much. Didn't have that much of a relationship near the end.
I recently lost my dad. We had a pretty close relationship. He was a cook and a sommelier, so he was a little bit more autistic.
For some reason, one of the biggest losses that stands out is someone named Dante, who was one of my coworkers.
It was very difficult because we didn't get to say goodbye in any sort of way. It was an all of a sudden point, and he was just gone, and that was hard.
I definitely was mostly in shock most of the time, so I didn't know exactly how I was feeling, because you just feel numb.
I found out he was in a coma, and I didn't really expect him to die. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is serious, this is bad. He tried to kill himself, but when he comes out of the coma, we're gonna get him help, we're gonna figure this out. I wasn't really expecting him to pass.
And I just remember thinking that this isn't supposed to happen to somebody like me. Like, this is not real, it's fake, this isn't happening. I kept begging her to tell me she was lying. I told her I wouldn't be mad, just please tell me you're lying.
But I ran into the bathroom and I just remember screaming, like, no, like, no, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Why is this happening? And I was just screaming, and I was just frantically, like, moving around the bathroom, just screaming, like, no.
And I missed a call from my mom, so I called her back, and she's like, hey, grandma passed away. And I was just, the darkness, closed on me, even more than it already was. I was just like, I'm alone. That's it. We're done.
With my aunt, there wasn't really much I needed to do to cope for that, I would say.
I don't think I coped at all. I didn't feel enough to feel the need to cope.
The way I coped was definitely having my friends around me, and then I just kind of kept working business as usual.
I guess my coping was to work, to continue, to avoid. It led up to just a complete breakdown because I wasn't actually dealing with it. I wasn't actually coping with it.
My mom and I, especially, I think, drank quite a bit after that had happened to cope. And I don't think it got really bad, and I was lucky enough to have a great support group.
Called out the next day from work, and I just took those 2 days to really just talk to my parents, that support system, and finally feel what I had been feeling. Finally grieve.
For my grandmother, I coped by just being with my family, in a way basically celebrating her life.
I started therapy. I'd already been in therapy, so that was really helpful. Playing rugby here really helped, just being with my team. I think I was surrounded by a lot of people who cared about me and had more skills than a lot of other people might have access to. So
I really did appreciate them actually kind of pushing people away for me, just because everyone asking, like, hey, what's wrong? Hey, what's going on? Why are you crying? And just having to keep repeating myself of like, oh yeah, this happened was getting really tiresome.
There was varying reactions amongst my family and the way that I interpreted his death and the way that others interpreted his death. I've also let those other family members feel the way they feel and respected that, so getting that same respect now.
How people would ask me questions of what was she like. I think that's what really helps me, is being able to talk about it.
I wish people would ask me more about it. I think everyone around me has moved on, and I still feel like I'm stuck in the same spot, and I feel awkward being upset about it at this point. I feel weird bringing him up. Like, I don't want people to think I want attention for it, but it still feels really, really fresh for me.
A lot of people's views on counseling and therapy and that kind of thing, it's so taboo, and it's so just not understood and looked at in a weird way that people think that it's wrong or weird or something if they need to utilize that.
Something I wish would change is the judgment of how people grieve. I felt judged by myself. I judged myself how I felt.
I hated when people would try to explain it away. I really wish people could just be raw with it, or just flat out say, you know, this sucks and it's not okay.
I think we can't be so afraid of it and fearful of it. It happens. It's what it is.
I think media tends to look at death in a very negative connotation. It's not, as negative as it needs to be in today's society.
I really wish that more people would kind of celebrate the life, play their favorite songs or wear their favorite colors, and like have something that more represents that person rather than just a service to have a service.
You know, when you lose somebody like that, it's going to feel like this really, really big hole in your heart. And the hole's never going to go away. But as your life goes on, your heart gets more full. And the hole's going to feel smaller as it gets more full.
It's that it starts off like just getting through the minute. So moving to that next minute. And then knowing that those minutes will eventually turn into hours. And once you're now making it to the next hour and the hour after that, it just becomes getting to the next day.
However you grieve is okay. You don't have to follow a certain thing. It doesn't have to look this way. Everybody is different, and it's okay.
You still get to be around, so it's worth it to make your experience something great.
Go with the flow, feel the emotions, be sad when you need to be sad, but take it a minute at a time.
So amazing, and it was so cool to see how many people in our community he touched that he had no idea that he did. So I just would want him to know that I'm going to do my best to be like him in that way.
Russ, you made me. I appreciate you. I appreciate your existence. I appreciate the impact that you made on others in this world. And I hope that, you live the happiest life you could have. You have no regrets, and wherever you go next, I wish you nothing but the best.
To those who have passed, I will continue to look for butterflies and for change on the ground as long as I can live, because I know ultimately that's as if you guys are all thinking of me. So, thank you.
I hope you guys are in a great place, and I know you are watching over me. And